Welcome to our next session of Soul Strings. Well, when I thought again about introducing our platform today, for all those who are from India will relate to me that today we are celebrating Teachers' Day in India, which perhaps is the birthday of our first Vice President, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. So I felt, why not use this moment as a part of our forum, as a part of our platform? Because I feel that this platform is a teacher. This platform is for teachers, and this platform is by teachers. Life is perhaps the biggest teacher, and every person who's coming here and sharing his or her stories are our teachers. And we all out here are students, are right here to get our doubts solved, get some answers to our queries. So what better than calling this platform a teacher? So Soul Strings, and today is a lovely day, coincidentally, that we are having our session on Teachers' Day as a part of India. So I feel that yes, just like life, I feel this platform with all the people sharing their experiences and all of us, all ears, wanting to know so much more, as well as clear so many of our doubts and share experiences with each other. I guess there's no better learning than that. Moving on to, what should I call her, the headmistress, or the one who's leading the pack at this point of time. Because try and understand, for any team to be successful, for any team to reach anywhere, we all need a vision. We all need a guide. We all need someone to actually show us a direction. I can guarantee you all of us have a lot of information. I can guarantee you all of us know a lot, but we need somebody to bring that out. We need somebody who can actually put that to use. And that somebody that I'm talking about today is none other than our host for the evening, Dr. Menaca. Menaca, thank you so much for bringing this platform to reality and giving us this chance, this opportunity to be a part of the same. So over to you, Menaca.
Thank you so much, Rohan, as ever, for your kind words. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Soul Strings. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I have immense pleasure in introducing my guest speaker today. She's a dear friend of mine. She's Kirubai Kohout, who is going to be speaking about healing from sexual abuse. Kirubai Kohout is the managing director of Styling with Grace K. She has immense experience as an image consultant. She worked in Letore Image Builders, a company she founded in her homeland, Malaysia. She is also an expert in helping men and women define and refine their image and find their own personal style, to be able to communicate better and fine-tune their etiquettes and protocol management. Before I start, I would ask Kirubai to tell a few words.
Thank you, Menaca, and thank you, Soul Strings, for giving me this opportunity. It's been a journey for me. Well, firstly, I would say that my personal journey has been my passion to what I'm doing now in terms of my work. But it all started when I was very young. I'm talking about my career first, and we will later go on into my journey of healing. And I'm really grateful because somehow or other, maybe it was better late than never, but I discovered my passion and my destiny in helping women and men in their styling needs. And I love doing that. I love helping people. And that's why today I'm here opening my heart out, opening myself and being vulnerable in front of all of you and sharing my journey in this very difficult time I had in my teenage life. Thank you, Menaca.
Thank you so much, Kirubai. I'm honored that you are speaking about this for the very first time on our platform. And I have so much respect for you because I know it's not an easy subject to address and, to be bold. It is interesting you use the word being vulnerable, but people, what often miss is there's so much strength in vulnerability. to gain strength, you have to become vulnerable first. That's my take on it. So going into the subject of healing from sexual abuse, the crime survey for England and Wales estimates 7.5% of adults aged 18 to 74 years experience sexual abuse before the age of 16 years. That is an astounding 3.1 million people. And I'm sure there are appalling statistics all over the world. Of course, in some communities, it is out there, and some communities, it is not there. It doesn't really mean it doesn't exist. So this also includes both adults and child perpetrators. Can I ask you, when did this incident take place and at what age? Because of the incident and prevalence internationally and in UK, I'm just curious to know, if you don't mind, if you can tell us.
This story of my life is a story of healing and transformation. Healing doesn't mean the damage never existed. It means the damage no longer controls my life. This incident happened when I was a teenager, between the ages of 15 and 18. So at that point in time, you know, this was like in the early 80s, when I was a young teenager. It kind of, it never sinked in. We were never exposed to it. So I was actually very, very naive what was happening to me. And you grew up in a family where they never spoke about this. You were never highlighted. When we went to school, it was never taught that these things could happen to anyone. So my naivety actually kind of opened me up to this whole incident. And that's where I kind of was affected by it.
Thank you so much, Kirubai. So the abuse was most likely to have been perpetrated by a friend or acquaintance, according to the statistics. That's an appalling 37% of them get abused by someone who is known quite well. Can I ask you, was the offender known to you?
Oh, most definitely. He was someone related to us through my mother's side. He was someone who kind of regularly came to the house, kind of mingled with us. And, you know, in an Asian family, you know, and Asian being Malaysian, we are very hospitable. So he kind of came in and out of the house, kind of checked me out. And I believe for a very long time, he was kind of grooming me and showed me a lot of affection, which is, I think it was the starting point, because you know, we come from a very conservative family, and your parents, yes, your mom loves you, your dad loves you, but there is no open show of affection. And this person was showing a lot of affection towards me. And I think that was the entry point and gave him the rights to do what he did at that point in time.
Thank you so much, Kirubai. I know, you know, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but so much respect for you to be able to share this with us. So sexual abuse has become the most common type of abuse counseled by Childline in recent years in the UK. It is also the most commonly reported type of abuse by adults, calling the National Association for People Abused in Childhood helpline in the year ending March 2019. So can I ask you, how long did it go on in your case?
I think probably it would have been around 4 years. From the age 15, 13 to the age 18, or
Sure.
could be 14 from the age of 18. I seem to have, some of these things have just kind of, it's kind of a lapse of memory, but
Sure.
you know, Going back to the incident kind of jolted a few things that probably I needed to deal with. And even as I'm speaking and I'm sharing, I'm dealing with some of the issues. It's just facing the enemy that was of the past. Sometimes it comes and reminds you. So I'm like taking the bull by the horn and saying it's not going to have any effect on me today because I am completely healed. I felt I was robbed of my innocence because being so naive, and I practically lost my teenage years. I grew up too fast.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kirubai. Mind has its own way of dealing with things and healing you. I think when you said that you have to jog your memory, sometimes you forget things. And I think enough research has been done. There are experts in the field here, so they might be able to tell us later on the question and answer session. The majority of the victims, according to statistics, did not tell anyone about their sexual abuse at the time, mainly due to embarrassment. That seems to be the most common reason. So my question to you is, were you able to share the incident with anyone at the time?
No, most definitely not. I was not able to share with anyone in the family, nor my friends, or no, not even to my teachers. Mm-hmm. Later in life, I could, be able to talk to my mom about it. But, during the 80s, these things were not spoken of, and it was frowned upon.
Yeah.
And sorry?
No, it's okay. I was about to ask, so what was the reason you didn't speak about at that time? It's because of embarrassment mainly then?
Yeah, it was the shame. I think the shame of going through this whole fiasco. And it was one thing facing society and another thing carrying that personal shame and embarrassment. Who do you want to share? And who would believe you? I think the thing was the rejection that you might receive in sharing something like this. And not forgetting it was in the 80s, 70s, 80s, where these things were never addressed.
Sure. Thank you, Kirubai. To be fair, I think even now, there are a lot of communities where this is not addressed openly. And one of the reasons I had to bring this topic up and speak on this platform is because of that. Because unless and until we start speaking about it, talking openly, having open conversations, we will never be able to face the problem and find solutions to it. So you said that you didn't tell at the time to anyone. Can I ask, how was the reaction when people did come to know years later about the incident?
I think when I shared it with the family members, the first reaction was, "Oh, it could have been your fault." And that it's in itself was a personal rejection. And so it was difficult for me because they couldn't understand the fact that it could have happened to their daughter or to their cousin, to their friend, but it happened. But it was also a place where there was a lot of blame shifting was going on, guilt. So there was a whole load of emotional uproar that was happening within the family and with your relatives who came to know about it. And being the person, the offender who was part of the family, extended family. So it became such an ugly fiasco, I would say. So things that could have been dealt with differently became so ugly.
Sure.
so it was also, it really kind of crushed me, really crushed me.
Sure. Thank you so much for sharing that so openly, Kirubai, today. So according to statistics, over 1/3 of victims experienced more than one type of abuse, the people who have been sexual abuse victims. Around 4 in adults, say 36%, that is sexually abused before the age of 16, experience more than one of the abuse. And as adults, it is 54%. So in your case, can I ask, was that your experience, or what is your perspective on this?
This is a real problems women face. Besides sexual abuse, women constantly face verbal abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, compounding with rejection, disappointments. And so, the list goes on. But who is going to bell the cat?
Sure.
And are you brave enough to stand up and say, that I know I have a problem. I wouldn't say I have a problem. Sorry. Let me phrase this again. I was a victim of sexual abuse. Am I brave enough to go and share it with someone? But at this time and age, we have a lot of help that we can get. There are a lot of counseling places where we can receive some counsel and also to help one another. And a lot of churches now, they have doors open. I know in this country, there are a lot of churches, they're open to counseling. I know a lot of other charities that bring forth a lot of counseling. There's a lot of awareness, and I thank God for that. But where the place I come from, it's still very raw. It's still very something that is pushed under the carpet. I attempted suicide. Actually, when the whole thing blew over, I actually attempted suicide. And thank God for God, because there were some people who were around me who said, no, this is not the way out. And they helped me, because I don't know, many people might not. I don't even know. My husband knows about it, who's on this platform. But I believe, the first thing that you would want to do is to crush yourself and hide. And that's something you need to overcome, that feeling of uselessness, the feeling of rejection. And when I think one of the things is, your self-acceptance takes a long time. And this is something that has happened to me 40 years ago. I'm 58 now. So I'm completely healed and I'm out there, I can speak. But what if you're a young person? It is difficult. It's really a difficult task to overcome. But teaching and encouraging young people to be more transparent, to come out from the closet and address the issue is, I think, one of the things that maybe even Soul Strings can help. And I'm so glad that you've given me this platform to share.
Thank you so much, Kirubai. It's an immense pleasure for me to bring you in here rather than the other way, to be honest. I can hardly count few people who will be willing to do, particularly from certain communities. In Southeast Asian communities, it is a big stigma, taboo. So it's a hats off to you for being able to help us to bring this topic up and increase the social awareness around this. At this point, I would also like to address that men also do get abused, so we shouldn't forget that. However, women are more likely to experience it, whereas women get multiple times get abused, 39% compared to 26% of men. So in the perspective, I guess women do get abused more. But however, we shouldn't forget the fact that men or boys do get abused. So we have to have an eye out, and we should be able to help not only girls, but also the boys. So going on from that, so did you keep blaming yourself, or did others blame you? How did you overcome this feeling?
I mean, as human nature, you would start blaming yourself. And during this time where, I was actually trying to find my place and trying to see, trying to put everything in perspective, not having your extended family support, and accusations were thrown at me. I just had to turn myself towards my Creator. And I kept asking God, what is this that's happening to me? I didn't have any support. Most of the time I spent crying and just crying and praying and just focusing on God and asking, please give me an answer. How can I deal with this? Because those days you never heard about counselors or coaches or mentors you can run to. The only solace I found was praying, reading the Bible, reading some health books, and just consoling myself and crying. I think there's a lot of healing when you cry, crying and crying. And slowly healing came, sorry.
No, go on.
Slowly the healing came, and I started sharing it with my classmates. And by that time, when I was 18, I had finished my school certification and I was waiting on to see what I was going to do. Because of all these things that happened, there was a lot of disruption in my education too. And as I was speaking and sharing with my classmates, the burden kind of lessened. But the worthlessness still lingered on, it kind of lingered and lingered and lingered till very late in life. I realized that I cannot live my life like this anymore. I had to move on, press on to the things that God has prepared for me, my destiny and purpose.
Thank you, Kirubai. So, listening to you, I will be coming to this later, but is there one thing you would tell the family and parents how to deal with it if a child comes and tells something like this at home? Just in a short way, because we will be going into details later on.
I think the one thing that I would encourage parents to actually do is if they ever find out their daughters or their sons are caught in a very compromising situation, to embrace them with love. Love actually covers a multitude of sins. Love conquers all. And just sitting down and listening to the children and seeing how they can help and to bring forth a unanimous agreement in the family to love and to address together the issue and not push them aside, not think what the 4 other people outside will say. The Asians have this mentality, what the 4 people will say. But forgetting about the people outside, but the family coming together and showing support and love.
Thank you so much for that, Kirubai. So my belief is forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. So was forgiving the offender difficult, and how did it help you move forward with your life?
I think forgiveness is very deep. A lot of us struggle with forgiveness. Forgiveness is spiritual. And to forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that prisoner is actually, it was me. Extending forgiveness is difficult, but it is possible through God's help. That's how I discovered I needed to forgive the offender.
Thanks, Kirubai.
Just
Today,
sorry, darling. Let me just finish. I just wanted to
of course,
and let this sink in.
of course.
Because a lot of us struggle with forgiveness. For my own sanity and peace of mind, I had to meet the offender and release this forgiveness because it was difficult, but I had to do it. But it was much later in my life, in the late 30s. One day I was just sitting down and I felt that such an urge to go and release this forgiveness to my offender. And I went, I braved myself and I went and I said, I'm sorry this happened. I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry. And you know what he said? I'm waiting for you all my life to come and meet me. And he said he was sorry for what he did to me. And lo and behold, I think it was 2 months after that, he passed away. So God works in mysterious ways. I had to release myself and he had to release himself. Difficult, but I was able to do it with God's help.
It is such a powerful example of forgiveness. You know, I don't think I have heard anything more powerful than this. I had worked with, as a coach and as an NLP practitioner, I have worked with a lady across the continent actually. And we decided she would write a letter to the person who sexually abused her. And after a month or two, you know, with reluctance, she did that. And the results were amazing. So she, you know, really, like you said, she could relieve herself. So I'm so astounded, like, you know, hats off to you again, so much respect to you to be able to forgive someone after such a difficult experience. Thank you for sharing with that. You know, I'm sure like a lot of people can take a leaf out of it, because sometimes we even find it hard to forgive for silly things. And yet you are here telling us you could forgive someone who did this to you. So a lot of respect to you. As I know you, today you are an independent businesswoman who is always seen happy and bubbly and ready to help others. So what were the steps you took to transform from being a victim to a victor today?
There's a couple of things that I told myself is every day I affirmed myself that I am fearfully and wonderfully made in God's image. So there's no one else can tarnish this image, because God's blueprint is on my life. So no one else can tarnish my image. I had to accept the pain and move on to the things that God has got for me. You know, I like this little quote. It says, telling the negative committee that meets inside my head to sit down and shut up. So every negativity that kept coming in my thoughts, I kept dismissing it and affirming myself. It was difficult, but I had to do it because I wanted to move on. Secondly, it was renewing my relationship with God every day through prayer and reading the Bible. That gave me a lot of strength. And it's something that I continuously do because I believe that God's word brings life. I retrained myself and discovered my passion and destiny through this whole big shang-bang. I became a style transformation coach. This was basically to overcome my own self-esteem and my own confidence, building my own image and helping. Now I can help others. You know, I have a story to tell and I can share my story and also help people with their confidence inside out. And also speaking in platforms such as this, thank you, Soul Strings, Dr. Menaca, for giving me this, this platform, because when I share, it also empowers me and I can empower other people. Yesterday's testing has become my testimony, leaving the past behind and looking on to the future. I'm very excited, even though this year 2020 has been a very difficult year, but I'm very excited because I think God has got special plans for you and I.
Thank you so much, Kirubai. You know, I'm sure participants have learned a lot from you. I, for one, has learned a lot of things from you. I speak about resilience, and I'm looking at an epitome of resilience in many ways here. Can you share 5 tips with our participants today, how they can cope or overcome similar experiences into your present mindset, or even help other people whom they know, may it be friends, family, children, neighbors, or even the wider community? How can they do it? If you can share 5 tips, please.
I have used this word HEALS, H-E-A-L-S, the acronym. So H stands for helping myself to connect to God. Most of the time, we just communicate one way. We keep asking God, come on, give me this, give me that, give me this. But a few of us really connect. And connecting to God is very, very important. In your own way, connecting to the Creator, the Maker, because He's got your blueprint. He's got it all for you. E is to embrace your shortcomings, all the mistakes that you have made. Once again, leaving the past behind, looking forward to the things that God has prepared for you. A, allowing change. Change is inevitable. Be true to yourself. Dig deep inside yourself and see what needs changing in your character and your nature. Seek help. Become better and not bitter. L. L is to love yourself. To fall in love with yourself is the first secret to happiness. It's the first secret to contentment. S. Sharing experiences to serve others. Your experience is the platform, it is the stepping stone to always helping and embracing someone else's pain. Because someone else's pain can be their story one day. So you are the conduit of blessing God has put on earth to share and to love and to give and to bless.
Thank you so much. I will never forget the heels now. Thank you so much. It's an amazing way to explain it. You spoke about low self-esteem, and that kind of helped you to go into styling and become a styling transformational coach. Can you enlighten us a bit about that, please?
So what I basically do is I have a lot of women who are going through a transition, especially if they have going through a divorce, or sometimes women who have over the years just let themselves go, put on some weight, become of a different shape. I actually like working with real women and men who want to have a different mindset in the way they look at themselves. I work alongside with their style personality. So basically boosting their ego and their self-confidence. And I love doing that. And part of my work is basically, Dr. Menaca we want to work with charities just to help men and women build confidence after a crushing past they've gone through, just to build them up in their confidence.
Thanks, Kirubai, because me and Kirubai also work together as Be Transformed. Both of us have done some work together. Thanks, Kirubai. So this is what you are doing for other people. So what was the reason really behind you becoming a style transformational coach? And you mentioned about the low esteem again. So what is your story? Why did you decide to do this? And where did that passion come from?
Okay. I think I've just got a funny story to it. You know, coming from an Asian family, and a being of brown skin, you know, we have this thing about people coming and proposing to you. And I've always got this thing, oh no, she's too dark, or she is too fat, or she is that, she's that. And you know, this was what was happening in our culture. And I was also a victim to that. And that got me thinking, you know, who you are, your shape is what you are. And me being a plus size person, I wanted to help myself first. So when people saw this transformation and how I built my confidence and dressed up according to my shape and not my size, there was a lot of interest in that. So I said, okay, I'll go and retrain myself, because I used to be a banker for 17 years in Malaysia. And realizing that was my passion. So I also help men to redefine their style in personal branding. Men from corporate backgrounds, men who want to change career. So I help them too. So it's very interesting how I work around them, you know, not making them feel bad or making them feel less worthy, but working around with what they have and working around the shape that they are carrying, and not putting them down, but building confidence, assurance, positive presence. So it's very exciting what I do.
Thank you, Kirubai. Thank you so much for that, because we speak about racism and religious backgrounds and how we are discriminated, but we often forget, particularly from South Asian communities, like you said, colorism is a huge subject. And I have heard many people speak about, not many, I would say a few people speak about it openly. And the very first time I heard that was from a doctor, who is a Sri Lankan doctor, actually. She came to a course with us in the UK from Europe, and she said she has never been discriminated by anyone else for the race or religion or the language. However, she has been called different things and put different limitations for the reason of colorism and because she was very dark. So it's like interesting to hear from you talking about the same subject. And thank you so much. It's another subject we often don't speak about, and it should be spoken about. So thank you so much for that. I'm sure everybody is eagerly waiting to ask you many questions. But before that, can I ask you, how has been the experience of Soul Strings for you? And any suggestions or feedback for us to take it forward?
Let me think. I'm actually quite elated with the Soul Strings initiative, showcasing many topics that are such a taboo in our society. COVID-19 has indeed birthed Soul Strings And thank you, COVID-19. The need to share and bring awareness to our society is so paramount. I believe whatever topics that you guys want to showcase, it would be a very current and a very pertaining topic for such a time as this. And I really want to say thank you. And I want to bless Dr. Menaca and the Soul Strings, that what you have started, may it live and may it bring forth and bear much fruit this season, that you may touch many lives.
Thank you so much, Kirubai. Can I request everybody to give a huge applause for Kirubai first, for coming on the platform and supporting us and speaking about such a difficult subject, and that to a personal journey with us, please.
Very good, excellent.
And the applause wouldn't be complete without bringing her other half on board. I cannot think another spouse who would encourage someone as much as Robert has done in her life. May it be business, may it be to speak out and speak up for other people. And he always has his open heart and open arms whenever someone needs something. Can you please come on live, Robert, and speak a few words? Huge respect to you.
Yeah, part of it was getting to know Kirubai and also getting her out of her shell. When I first met her, she was one of those that had low esteem in certain things. Like she wouldn't want to be photographed. So it was like, me, couldn't really worry about it. So something like a couple of hundred pictures later, now she's the magnet photographer, taking loads of pictures and everything else. I love her to bits. What's happened. It's not down to me. It's up to her. She's forgiven, moved on. So that's it, really.
Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much for being here as well, and a huge applause to you as well. Honestly, I cannot really think of another spouse who would support someone so much. Yes, of course. You know, I wish, can we have a few more Roberts in the community? It would definitely help.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much, Kirubai. Immense gratitude for you for coming on my platform and speaking about it. And thank you so much for all the team and the participants for being there. Before I hand it over to Frank, I just want to speak about the next speaker so that we don't move from one person to the other all the time. The next speaker is Avil Pinto from Dubai. He's going to be speaking about employment in the post-COVID economy, which are very close to my heart, mainly because, not because of me personally as such, to be honest. It's because I know and I coach people who have lost their livelihoods, lost their jobs. So this is a subject which is really close to my heart as well, because I know how much suffering and issues going on around that subject. So we are looking forward to speaking about it for the next time. Thank you so much, Sujit, for doing that. There we end the about the second speaker for the next time. Over to you, Frank, to give the vote of thanks, please.
Thank you, Dr. Menaca, for this wonderful platform, without which we couldn't have heard this session, or people couldn't have come together. So in this situation of COVID, I thank you and your team members of Soul Strings to have such a platform. It's God's plan that you have to reach out like this to the people and be a blessing to people. And it's my pleasure and great honor to be in this platform. On behalf of Soul Strings, I would like to tell a big thank you to Kirubai ma'am for the brave testimony that she shared. I don't think many people will come forward to share this boldly in front of an open platform like this. And I also thank God for Robert being along with Kirubai ma'am to be in this platform. Thank you, Kirubai ma'am, for this wonderful message that you passed on to everyone. May God bless each one of them who was gathered in this platform. You not only change the outer beauty of people, but even the inner beauty of the souls. So that's a great blessing to all. As your name says, it's full. You're full of grace. So God has blessed you with double portion of grace. May you be a portion of grace and blessing to all others. Thank you for sharing the acronyms of HEALS, healing, which is important. Many points which I took away. I think all of us who are in this platform, surely 100% they have been blessed for what wonderful words that you spoke. Like, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We have to forget about the past and looking onto the future. And God is the closest friend which you and me can have. When we cannot share it with our friends, God is the closest friend which we can have. For those of them who have joined late or who missed out on these 5 tips Kirubai ma'am spoke about, is H is for helping to connect with God. So prayer is 2 ways. You talk to God and God talks to you back. So you should wait for an answer from God also. And E is embrace your shortcomings. And A is allowing change of character, nature, to be better, not bitter. And L is love yourself with yourself. And S is stepping stone, helping others who are suffering with the same pain. I don't know it was a coincidence or not, but I was just going through some of the quotations of compared to change, the word change. So I would like to close with this 2 words, quotes, which will linger your mind or resonate in your soul. One is change is inevitable, which you already quoted, ma'am, and the growth is optional, which John Maxwell said. And the other one is by Steve Maraboli. The truth is, unless you let go, unless you forgive yourself, unless you forgive the situation, unless you realize that the situation is over, you cannot move forward. So you have done this boldly by the grace of God, as your name says, and you have overcome and been healed, and you are being a healing to others. So we'll wrap up with a pop. This song came into my mind, Michael Jackson's song, Man in the Mirror. It all talks about the change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror, and I'm asking him to change his ways. If you want the world to be a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. So let's all make that change in each one of ourselves, so that we'll make a better place, this world a better place for everyone. So we'll have an heaven on earth experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Frank. It was, as ever, you speak really well and from your heart. So thank you so much. Any parting words, Kirubai, before I take over?
Parting words. Well, Frank has summed it up very well. Leaving the past behind and looking on to the future that is for all of us. And most of all, being yourself, being real, facing your fears and being real and reaching out for help all the time. Help is there, reaching out. You don't have to suffer alone.
Thank you so much, Kirubai. Just to let all the participants know and all the people who are hearing from this, there are enough support in particularly, I only know the support system in the UK. The team has shared all the links where you can call people and get help, and also the different organizations where you can find help from. So it's really important. Please reach out and please help others to help themselves as well. So my parting words would be, please stand up, show up, and speak up for yourself. And for those who cannot speak up, stand up and show up for themselves as well. Party is not over yet. However, because of the privacy, we would be stopping our live streaming on Facebook hereafter this, so that people can ask questions and get answers from the speaker and others and have an open-hearted discussion without the fear of being noticed by someone or being heard by someone else who they don't want to be. So we look forward to seeing you next week, Saturday, same time, same place. Until then, stay safe, be happy, and keep smiling.